torn through a town of people because you get referred from one person and you help them out. And they say, you know what, Jonathan, you did such a good job for me that I actually want to recommend that you help out my friend. And then that person goes, Jonathan, you did such a good job that I actually want to refer you to my cousin. And then the cousin says, Jonathan, you did such a good job. I want to refer you to my brother. And next thing you know, one person that's been referred to you and you do right by them and you do the right thing. And now you've been referred to 10 other people from where you started with the one. But
Yeah.
people don't think like that because people.
One of the most important facets of any business is customer service. In business, you are not only selling a product or a service, but an experience. Providing exceptional customer service and developing real relationships with your clients means increased sales, retain customers, new customers via word of mouth, and a positive reputation. You're listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Benjamin Del Grosso gives you the ins and outs of one of the most underlooked aspects in business today. Improve your customer service and watch your business skyrocket. 2, 1. Now, here's your host, Benjamin Del Grosso.
Hello and welcome to the show. Today we have Jonathan Young, the insurance guy here. He's from San Antonio, Texas. So, Jonathan, tell us a little bit, how did you get into this? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
How did I get into health insurance?
Yeah, how'd you get into health insurance?
So back in the day, I guess it was around 2015. I was in the car business. I was selling cars from 2015 to 2018. And around the end of 2018, or I guess mid-year 2018, my wife and I were expecting our second kiddo. And I had a buddy of mine that I ended up connecting with. He wasn't a buddy of mine at the time, but I sent a post out on Facebook that I personally was looking for health insurance because at the dealership, they wanted me to pay about $1,250 a month for myself, my wife, and one kid at the time. And, we were really young. I'm only 27 years old now. And so I was probably, I have no idea how old I was this time. I guess 20, 21, something like that in that area. And, they wanted us to pay a boatload of money. So I was like, I got to find a different option. Sent out a post on Facebook, had a whole bunch of people get tagged, and I ended up connecting with a very good friend of mine now, Randall. And he asked me to come work for him, right then and there. He'd been seeing me, hustle on the car business and posting on social media and taking care of people in that way, and asked me to come, work with him. I told him no. Told him I was going to do the best year that I ever had during that year. But he could come, help me with the health insurance policy. So a couple months later, after my wife and I had our second kiddo, he came out to the house. I was picking apart his sales process, and just kind of like seeing where he was, asking me questions where I would agree with him and things of that nature. And, just doing good at his process, but I was kind of picking it apart, and he was just saying like, man, I told you would be really good at this. Like, let's talk about it more. And so he talked me into talking about it more. It made sense. My wife and I, we started talking about it, praying about it. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. And I think that you need to, if you're going to make a big decision like that, it's got to be something that makes sense. You got to have your wife in on it. You got to, you got to send the prayers up and make sure that it makes sense to everybody. It's part of the plan. I think that God lined that up for me. And I executed on it, showed me the opportunity, I executed on it. And then 4 years later, here I am, moved up, gotten several promotions within the company, produced this week, I should surpass $3 million of, issued business with, of health insurance premiums. And I've just been overall blessed to be a part of the process.
Nice. So you're helping families save money on the traditional healthcare process, right? That's the whole with the privatized healthcare.
Yeah, so in the United States, we have options for health insurance, and small business owners and people that are self-employed, they really get taken advantage of by that health insurance process. And if you kind of go over here with everybody else, well, um, you may make a little bit more money, and so you're getting penalized for doing that. And so what I do is I take them, out of that. I'm able to put them on something that rewards them for being healthy and does not penalize them for making good money and doing well for themselves. And I'm able to get them a better plan on a better network, better access to care. So
Nice. That's great. So
yeah,
yeah, no, that's awesome. So you've been doing this for what, like about 4 years now?
yeah. So we're in August. So October the 15th to be 4 years on the dot.
Wow. Oh, flukishly, October 15th was the day our late dog was born. He was born on October 15th. What
Sounds like
was
it
it?
was a great day.
Well, it was about, yes, 16 years ago. He passed away about 2 years ago. But I
Gotcha.
mean, yeah, I mean, it's one of those days that's in the back of my mind, October 15th. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So you got any, what's been, what was your most memorable experience as a customer?
So as a customer, I would say there's a indoor water park over here. I'm in San Antonio, and there's an indoor water park up in Round Rock, which is right outside of Austin, Texas. It's actually basically a suburb of Austin, Texas now, and it is a giant indoor water park called Kalahari. And the first time my wife and I went to this place, um, we didn't really know what to expect. We knew it was expensive. We knew there was some hype around it. Um, we didn't really know what to expect. And so we just got told, like, hey, get there right when they open. Like, okay, well, our room's not going to be ready until 3. And our friends were like, I don't care. Get there right when they open at 10 a.m. Like, okay. So pull up, you know, guys coming out automatically, like, hey, what's your name? Getting us checked in, stuff like that. Here, let us take your bags from you. We'll store your bags while you wait for your room to get ready. They'll be locked away. The guy, I was like, man, can I trust this system? The guy was like, if I had a Rolex watch, I would set it in there and not worry about it. You know what I mean? And like, it was legit. It was like under like super secure type deal. We put all our stuff in there. They've got changing rooms that they'll take you to, and then you get to go enjoy your water park experience for the entire day while you're waiting on your room to be ready. And as soon as your room is ready, you can go and take your stuff to your room, or you can leave it in the bag storage. You can, do whatever you want, right? And that was just something that, like, initially that was cool, like being greeted as soon as you pull up, being shown like, hey, this is where you can put your bags if you'd like. They're going to be locked under, lock and key, stored away. Nobody gets in here without a pass. And here you can go enjoy what you came here to do. As soon as you get here, you don't have to worry about waiting around, sitting around for your room to be ready, anything like that. And then once your room's ready, go into your room. It's like an African themed resort. And so they've got the little towel origamis built up like, elephants and giraffes and all sorts of crazy stuff that like make your kids go wild. And they just think it's really cool. And, people are opening doors for you. And I just think that's a lot of little details, that get missed nowadays. And I just think that it was a really cool experience. They've got a great arcade. Their arcade looks like a damn casino.
Nice.
It's amazing. They got roller coasters inside, indoor water park, 80 degrees, 75 degrees, something like that. Just hanging out and having a great time.
Yeah, the biggest thing with anything in customer service and customer experience that I find is people need to be consistent. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So if you go there and it's clean and it's great and everybody's opening doors for you, it was amazing experience. You tell everybody, right? And if you go back like 2 years later and they open the doors and it's clean and everything's, the same way it was, then it's consistency, and that's what's going to make you keep coming back, right?
Yeah.
So I always just say a big thing is about consistency. You have to be consistent, and in order for to have a consistent customer experience, they have to consistently, you know, perform on every level all the time,
Yep.
right? And I mean, I've been to some of these high end hotels, like you're talking about opening the door, where it's like they open the door and they open the door, and then they're chatting and not paying attention, and then I open the door and I'm going, oh, okay, guess the guy's not paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, like you gotta like all these, but it's those little things that it doesn't even seem like it's a big thing, but it all adds up to this like great experience, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely. And luckily we've been back, 3 times since then. And it's been a very consistent experience.
Which is
Uh,
awesome. That's what makes you keep going back, right?
it makes you want to pay the $700 a night. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
it's expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah, but I mean the fact that some places might tell you, oh, sorry, you can't go into the park or can't do this until blah 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 until you're checked in or something like that, right? But they're
Right.
like, yeah, you drop your shit off, let's go, right?
Exactly.
Which is awesome. They just make you feel comfortable, and that's kind of like a thing that like a lot of the hotels will do in Vegas, like leave your bags here, go ahead, join, spend your money,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's awesome, man. It's awesome.
It's a great place. If you ever come down to Texas, I highly recommend it.
I've only been to Texas once, and I was at the what is it, the Gaylord Texan? I
Ooh,
think
and
that's in
DFW.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dallas.
I went down there. There was like went down there for an event. Actually, I was down there twice, I think, for the same event at the Gaylord. But yeah, I think it was one was at the Gaylord Texan and one was at another one. Anyways,
I've
neither.
never stayed at the Gaylord Texan, but I have stayed at the Gaylord National on the National Harbor in Washington D.C. And
Yeah.
I was a lot younger, but that was a pretty great experience. Big fountain on the inside and stuff like
Oh,
that.
nice. Yeah, no, I've been both times. Both times it was events, so I never really got to experience the city. And I seem to remember last time I was in Texas, we were driving away, and what I love doing is I love talking to the cab drivers or the Uber drivers or whoever, right? I love it when they're chatty and you can ask them questions, and we're driving and he's like, and this is where the JFK thing happened, and this is where this happened, and they're giving us all these landmarks of stuff like right here and right there, and it's like, oh man, that's cool. I love it when they're like educated on history, because first off, I'm not, you know part of that, you know what I mean? Like I don't live there, so I don't know about these things. I couldn't tell you where that event happened, but now it's like in my mind that that was cool, that happened such and such, whatever, right? So but yeah,
Well, there's no more Texas history than there is in San Antonio, Texas. So if you get an itch, come down here and come see the Alamo.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, we got to do some more traveling, but being an entrepreneur right now and growing my business, it's hard to leave.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I love to travel, man. So when you look around the world today, what has stood out to you as the biggest change in how we interact as customers?
Ooh, I mean, I would just say that like it's rare to run across someone who is, truly, I feel like proud of what they do. Whether it's something as small as being like a somebody that's running a drive through, or whether it's like an executive with a company. Like it's hard to run across somebody that is just proud of what they do and is really dedicated to helping you in that moment. I think everybody is so focused on like the big picture of what's going around that they forget the details, like you and I were talking about before. And so I think that that's probably the biggest. And so whenever you run across somebody like that, it really grabs your attention, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. So I go to McDonald's and just grab coffees because they're like $2, and I'm mobile, so I'm driving around everywhere all the time, and I'm a Starbucks guy, but spending $5 on multiple coffees throughout a day doesn't make sense. So I usually just grab a McDonald's coffee. But I was at McDonald's, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, and I watched this girl behind the counter, and she's literally taking the bag out, she's packing it all, and then she'll bring it to you. Hey, number, blah, blah, whatever, here you go. Here's your order. Have yourself a great day. Like it was just that whole, like she was trying to, and the whole time I'm watching her interact because there's like 4 or 5 orders ahead of mine, even though I had, a coffee, right?
Sure.
And the way she's interacting and talking to people, I was like, she's not going to be here long. She's going to be in a successful position. Maybe she's in college right now, and that's where she's working because that's what works for her hours or works for the weekends, nights, whatever it is, right? Either way, the way she was talking to people, the way she was actually communicating with people, because a lot of times, you know, we got kids, so a lot of times we bring them to McDonald's, things like that, because it's just a lot easier to go there, right? And anyways, we go in and I've been noticing, I'll ask them little questions like do you have this, and they very much don't want to communicate with you anymore. It's like everything is being pushed. So up here in Greater Vancouver, Canada, majority of the McDonald's have gone to locked bathrooms. So you have to like get them to buzz you into a bathroom. So
Yeah.
going up and saying, "Hey, can you let me into the bathroom?" They won't even say, "Okay, yes, no problem, we'll let you in." They
Right.
literally just like I've had like them just point, go to the bathroom door. Like they can't even speak to me saying, "Sir, yeah, go ahead, go to the bathroom door, we'll
Yeah.
let you in." And it's like, do you
That's
need to text?
terrible. Yeah.
Do you need to text me that?
Right. Especially because like that's a place that you're spending your money, you know what I mean? And you know, it sucks because this is sort of what we've come to expect from just like hourly paid workers, you know. It's an expectation now, and that's really it's sad. And so again, whenever you run across somebody that really does go above and beyond, um, you know, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, um, so there's this local coffee shop we go to. We buy all our coffee beans from there. And this girl, we always buy coffee beans, but every 3 to 4 weeks, and we freshly grind them at home and everything. But this girl was great; she was amazing. And I pulled her aside and I said, you did such a great job. I'd love to have you on my show. She's like, well, what's your show? I'm like, focus on customer experience. I said, the way you're treating me, the way you're talking to me, they like, it's like someone's been teaching you for years, which her parents probably have, beat it into her or whatever, right? That this is important. It's probably some family values or something there. And she's like, oh, like, what's that all about? And we got into a whole discussion about it. And she was just like blown away. Like, wow, I can't believe how great. I emailed the owner saying, amazing service from her. She did a great job. She's very chatty, but the thing is I can go back there and get somebody else who didn't meet all those little things. And
Right.
now that girl's not working there anymore, which sucks. But at the same time, you know, that is somebody that is naturally gifted with the gift of gab, with knowing how to talk to customers and feed off of those emotions back and forth, right? And that's what creates a great customer experience, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And also like whenever you're looking at like from the company standpoint too, when if they see that consistently in somebody, like that's somebody that you want to move up as quick as possible, that's now going to teach your lower level employees how to transfer that customer experience, right?
Oh yeah, it's all
Yeah,
about.
you do whatever you can to keep those kind of people, you know, and I don't know the situation, of course, and why
Oh
she left.
no, yeah. Yeah, no, you know what? She was only working like 2 days a week, kind of thing, right? It was just
Oh,
fluke
really?
that I caught her on the day she was kind of working, right? Because we only go there
Yeah,
like once every few weeks, kind of thing, right?
for sure.
But, but yeah. So, what is one thing you do or have done to provide a positive experience?
So a couple things that I do really is kind of like what I was saying to you is I really listen to my people, and I'm not a product pusher. I'm not a guy that believes in a one size fits all type method. I think that everybody's situation is different. for whatever needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like there's some people that are more focused on catastrophic stuff. There's more people, which, really is what insurance is for, right? But um, there's some people that they're like, hey, I don't need the doctor's visits and stuff like that. There's some people like, hey, load me up with the doctor's visits because I'm going to go a lot, right? And really taking the time and listening to somebody and tailor fitting a plan to them, I think there's a lot of value in that. But also something that I personally pride myself on is a lot of insurance agents nowadays, and really just a lot of people in general, they don't they focus on making the sale, and then after that they're done, right?
Oh
Um,
man,
so
one and
for
done.
Yeah, exactly. And so for myself, like I pride myself in telling every single customer that I have that if you have an issue or if you have something going on, if you have an accident, if you have anything going on that's significant pertaining to your health plan, like call me up on the phone and I want to give you a person to person customer service. That way you're not having to call up 1-800 elevator music and sit there on hold for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour whenever you could have just called me. I can call into the company, connect you with them, and just bypass all that stuff, for you to make the experience better.
Yeah, no, that's gold, man. Because you know, I get often get asked by my customers, like, so here's an example. About 2 weeks ago, this customer calls me, hey, blah blah blah, my dash camera doesn't work anymore, and he's chatting with me and telling me all the problems, and then he starts talking about a specific product that's in his vehicle, and I'm like, I've only ever installed one of those, but I didn't say that to him while he was on the phone. So I
Sure.
said, what type of vehicle do you have? He goes, oh, I got a brand new Ford Bronco. I said, okay, cool. Da, 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 da. I said, it sounds like you have this and this and this, wrong kind of thing, right? It's probably something very simple. I'm not sure who installed it for you, but you're probably gonna have to go back to them. And the guy's like, oh, well, you're not blah 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 blah. I'm like, no, I'm not that company. He goes, well, why did you help me? And I said, well, I just, I'm here to serve and help everybody out, right? So, and he's like, oh, wow, that was really great. Yeah, I'll give them a call and let them know what you kind of told me, and hopefully they can fix it for you. I get off the phone, and the customer I'm with, he's like, so why would you help that person if they didn't buy anything from you? I said, well, because you never know what's going to happen. He could call the place where he got it from, and they could give him no customer service. Now, I imagine they will because they are a reputable company. So I imagine they're going to take care of him. But if they, even if they do, hopefully the guy was so amazed that I was willing to help him out that maybe he tells one or two of his friends, and that turns into a positive thing. Like, hey, you know what? This guy on the phone that runs Safe Drive Solutions helped me out, even though he didn't sell me anything. He talked on the phone for 10 minutes, troubleshot the whole thing with me, told me what was wrong, and that's it. Like, that was amazing. So, and that's because, and like what I tell my customers is because I'm thinking long term. I'm not thinking short term. It's not about the transaction. It's all about taking care of the customer. And if you end up winning, cool. If you don't sell them anything, hey, whatever. At the end of the day, that's who you are and that's my reputation. And I just want to make sure that I'm helping everybody.
Exactly. And the same thing, you know what I mean? Somebody comes to me, like I can't help everybody. Not everybody is my ideal client. You know what I mean? However, I do have the obligation, at least I think I have the obligation, that in the event that someone comes to me or gets referred to me to help them with their health coverage, regardless of their situation or whether I'm even licensed in the state to do business or whatever it is, I still have a boatload of expertise in the area that they're asking help of from me. And so I owe that person to guide them in the right direction. Again, I'm not, I might not make any money off that. I might not get paid on that day, but I do believe that like if you do good things, like you're going to get rewarded for it, you know. I do believe that, but even if I don't, still honorable to be a stand-up person, you know what I mean, and just help people regardless of what the outcome is. You know,
That's funny. That's actually very interesting what you're saying. So I had this guy, he's got this business, and he called me up and he goes, when I sell a dash cam install, I usually charge, let's call it $300. And he goes, "What do you charge?" And I tell him on average. And he's like, "Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge them $300 and then I'll sublet it to you." And I said, like, "I'm sorry, like it doesn't work like that. When I pull up, you're going to see all my Safe Drive Solutions gear. You're going to see that. They're going to know it's not you. And then they're going to find out my rate because they're probably going to ask me. And then it's not going to look good on you." I
Mm-hmm.
said, "So why don't we just do value exchange? You mainly focus on detailing. So why don't I give you referrals for detailing and you give me referrals for dash cameras? And
Yep.
it's a value exchange." No, he was all about the money. He needed to make money, right?
Right.
It was all about the transaction. And I said, "Listen, it'll never work. This isn't how I work my business. I don't want to be subletting work for other people. It's all about my brand." So
Right.
as soon as he started he was like, "Oh, okay, so this won't work." It's like, yeah, like I'm not trying to be, but that's the thing. Like so many people focus on the transaction. And the thing is, too, I actually flukishly, the reason why this came up in my head is because a customer of mine yesterday asked me, "Do you know a mobile detailing company that you trust?" And I was like, "Actually, I don't." And then right now it clicked in my head. I know this guy, but then I was like, I don't know if I want to refer him.
Somebody to trust.
Right? Like, do I trust him? Right. So that's why, like, I don't think I'm going to refer him because that's my customer. And I don't
Right.
know if I want to refer him. Right. So,
Right. You don't know what kind of experience they're going to have whenever they go.
yeah. However, if we would have
Right.
worked out value exchange, 6 months ago when we were having this conversation, hey, he probably would have got this customer actually has 4 vehicles. He probably would have got the 4 vehicles to get detailed just as a result of just looking long term. Right.
And, and the chain reaction of like, I have torn through a town of people because you get referred from one person and you help them out. And they say, "You know what, Jonathan, you did such a good job for me that I actually want to recommend that you help out my friend." And then that person goes, "Jonathan, you did such a good job that I actually want to refer you to my cousin." And then the cousin says, "Jonathan, you did such a good job. I want to refer you to my brother." And next thing you know, one person that's been referred to you and you do right by them and you do the right thing. And now you've been referred to 10 other people from where you started with the one. But
Yeah.
people don't think like that because people normally they're not really focused on the customer experience. They're focused on the transaction experience. They want to focus on how much money's going into their pocket.
Yeah.
And that's not enough because if you're not doing the right things and you're not being a good person with good integrity in business, the money will go away. But
Yeah.
if you focus on doing the right thing, you focus on doing right by your customers, regardless of whether it gets you paid or not, well, then I think you'll be okay. At least it's worked for me so far.
Yeah,
I'm still a buck though in business, right?
there's this little story within Arate group there. Mike Claudio. I don't know if you know who he is, but
Seen a lot of his stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so he made a post a while back that
That,
really,
that win rate consulting. Is that what that is?
yeah, yeah. So he made a post about he also does shoes, right? And he
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was like in a airport or something like that. And I think he gave like $100 tip or something to a server because he was just being really nice and just felt like, give back, make somebody's day, right? So he gave someone like a big tip at a restaurant and an airport. And I think somebody asked him like, "Why did you do that?" And then he just explained, I was just being a good human kind of thing, right? And the
Yeah.
person who asked him ended up being someone who owns like some big kids charity for shoes. And he's very big on giving out shoes to a lot of these kids organizations. So then because of that, they start talking all because of this lady witnessing him giving this big tip. And now
Yes.
they're talking and it's going to blow up his shoe brand.
Yes.
Why? Because he's not looking at the transaction. He's looking at the big picture, right? The
Exactly.
long term, right? He didn't think, "Hey, I'm going to give 100." He was just giving $100 tip, or I think it was $100 tip. He was just
Sure.
giving out this big tip because he just wanted to be a good human. He wasn't thinking he was going to get anything out of it, but because someone witnessed him do that, all of a sudden it turns into this other conversation of like, "You're a nice person. Why would you do that?" Da, 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 da. And now
Yeah.
it's going to turn into something big for his company that he wasn't planning on it. But that's the difference between long-term thinking, short-term thinking, transactional, right? And yeah.
But
Anyway.
it just shows you like it doesn't always happen like that. You know what I
No.
mean? Where you do it and it's like boom, instant, right? Because if you're looking for the instant gratification, you know how that goes, right? But
Dopamine.
right, but also not only that, but like
Like.
the reason that probably happened to him is not because of that right there. Like, yes, it happened as a result of what he did right there, but it's probably just catching up because of seeds that he planted way behind him on doing the right thing and being the person that he is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's big.
I need to meet this Mike Claudio.
You know
Formally.
what? Hopefully he'll be in Nashville, because I actually have not met him in person yet. And there's a few other people that I've known for a few years from different networking groups and stuff that I've been in, and they're also in Arate that are supposed to be there, and I'll actually get to meet them in the flesh finally. So
Yep.
it'll be cool, right?
I'll be there. I'll get to shake your hand as well.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
I'm shorter than you look.
I'm 5'11". I like to tell people I'm 6 feet, and then my wife makes fun of me. But
I mean, I'm like 5'10". So yeah, we're
well,
good.
we're pretty close.
Yeah, we'll be short together.
So, is there a book you've read that has influenced your life?
So a couple of them. I like How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's kind of like the bedrock of, I think, everybody's self-development.
Dale Carnegie, right?
Yeah. How to win friends and influence people. If you want someone to become interested in you, you first have to become interested in them, right? And then all the other concepts that kind of go with that. But another good book, really, really good book that I recommend to everybody just because it's such an easy read. It's like reading a children's book for adults. You literally cannot miss it. The message, and it's super powerful, but it's The Energy Bus by John Gordon.
The
And
Energy Bus.
yep, The Energy Bus.
I've heard of John Gordon for some reason. I don't know. Maybe he's got a whole bunch of other books. Looks like a kid's book.
It looks like a kid's book. He has a kid's book, then it's the same thing. He has
Okay. I see. Yeah, there's an adult book and a kid's book. Nice.
Yep. But even the adult book is like reading a kid's book. I graduated top 30 in my high school class only because
That's why.
And so I have to read kids' books. No, I'm just kidding.
Forward is by Ken Blanchard. So the entry level, the beginning of the book is by Ken Blanchard, and Ken Blanchard wrote like 1 Minute Manager, 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey,
Yes.
all those books, which I've read lots of. They actually helped me a lot early on in life as a manager. And anyways, yeah, I like Ken Blanchard. He does some good stuff. So I imagine if he's part of this is probably a really good book. 10 rules to fuel your life, work and team with positive energy.
That's it.
Yeah. And I know Chris Warren's in Arate loves the Dale Carnegie book that you talked about. His book, literally, he just did top 6 books or whatever on his podcast and on his YouTube channel. And literally his Dale Carnegie book is he reads it every year, multiple times, and it's falling apart. Like it's falling apart. He's read it so often, right?
Who was that? There was a guy that used to do that with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor literally he based his entire life around the book of Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I would say I've based most of my life. Plug now discover your strengths.
Okay.
The reason why is because they actually have like a Gallup organization poll, and you take this whole survey, and it explains kind of how you are in terms of your strengths. So there's like 25 or 32 strengths. I think it's 32 strengths in this book. And you take this test. The new book's called like Strengths Finder 2.0 or something like that. I don't think you can get the original one anymore. But I take it and it tells you your top 5. And my number 1 is individualization, which is, by saying it, people think, oh, you're an individual. No, what it means is I'm able to understand that everybody thinks differently. Everybody needs different motivation to push them. And ever since I got my top 5, it's like I embraced them and I changed as a leader, like overnight. It was just like I lived off of that, right? And everything I did was to just push and focus on those top 5. Like these are my top 5. It's almost like your core values. It was like these are my top 5 of who I am, right?
I like that.
And I embraced it, and then you know that's it. It's a great book because it talks all about how, not to ruin the book if you're ever going to read it, but basically it talks all about how most people go and work jobs that they hate.
Yeah.
And it was it like 20% of the workforce is actually in jobs where they're fully utilized to what they do great every day. The other 80% are just kind of in jobs because it pays the bills, right? So the whole point is to build a strengths-based organization based on people what they're strong at. And
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like hiring a graphic designer and then telling him you're doing all our social media. Well, I don't want to do the social media.
Or
I
you're
just want to design graphics. You what?
or you're installing the carpet or something like that, you know?
Yeah, you're installing the carpet, right? Well, but I don't want to install carpet. I don't want to paint the walls, right? Well, everybody paints the walls. No. Like I was hired to be a graphic designer. This is what I'm good at. This is what I love doing.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's very interesting the book, and it talks all about that. And yeah, anyways, it's awesome. And then they have another book called First Break All the Rules, which is awesome. So there's lots of really cool books.
That one sounds fun to me.
First Break All the Rules.
Yeah.
Well, it's trying to like redesign the system and redesign how you do things because like Andy always talks about, we're so used to like how to do things a certain way because did the media tell us this way? Did schooling tell us this way? Our parents told us this way because that's the way they know, right? So imagine just breaking all those rules and now all of a sudden you're successful because you're changing the game, right? So anyways, I haven't read it for a while, so maybe I didn't explain it correctly. But well, we got a little bit frozen there for some reason, but we're all good now. So, is there one thing, if there's one thing you could change in the entire world today, what would it be and why?
I would make child trafficking non-existent because anybody that exploits children's a piece of shit and deserves to burn in hell.
Yeah, that's, you know what? I had someone else on my show tell me the same thing. They really were not a fan of that. I don't blame it. It shouldn't happen in this day and age, but it does. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And recently I heard someone was talking about this whole thing about how they were holding kids at the border during Trump's presidency and how they were making it out as though like they were separating the kids from the family. But what they said is what the media wasn't explaining to everybody is what they were doing is because they're coming across with like no identification. A lot of these people,
Mm-hmm.
they are separating them to verify that kid that's their parents, right?
Yeah.
So there isn't any child trafficking or things like that happening. That they're doing that to limit those kinds of things, but that's not what the media was reporting. The media was reporting that they're locking up the parents separate from the kids,
Right.
instead of reporting that they're doing this to try and make it so that stuff isn't happening, right?
I had not heard that, so I'm actually glad you brought that up.
Somebody brought that. It was on some podcast. It was either Joe Rogan or Andy. Might have been one of Andy's guests, or because I don't really read the mainstream media, so I don't know where it was, or maybe it was Cruise the Internet. I don't know. But yeah, you have any final words or words of wisdom or anything you want to?
No, man, I just appreciate you having me on here. It's definitely an honor to be a part of this. And yeah, I mean, if there was anybody that is looking to get better at focusing on customer experience, I can just tell by this experience that you and I have had that your podcast definitely is going to add value to everybody's life. And go back and watch all the old episodes and learn about just how to be and how to give a better customer experience overall. Care about your people, not the transaction.
That's right. It's all about long-term thinking and give reciprocity, and sooner or later, right?
That's it.
It's all going to turn out positive for you. But yeah, no, it's awesome. Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for chatting, spending some time with us. We also had a really good off-camera conversation.
Yes, we did. You got to see my guns.
Yeah, I get to see some guns. Cool.
Yes, sir.
But thanks a lot. And I'm sure I'm going to see you in Nashville.
Yes, sir, you will.
Thanks for listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Ben, check out Benjamin Del Grosso on LinkedIn, at Safe Drive Solutions on Instagram, or www.safedrivesolutions.ca online. We'll see you next time.